That's right. AEW Dynamite happened last night. Whenever the flub you're watching this, you'll have to do the calculations. And they put their world title match, which was already on free TV, right slap bang in the middle of the show. Really confused me when I woke up because everybody was moaning about this. It's like, what do you care? Television's absolutely free. Why would you moan about this? I thought it was awesome. I thought it was great. I thought it was brave. I thought it was different. I'm not saying that you're not allowed to sit there and say, this didn't work. What are you doing? It should always be the main event in order to try and keep people to the end of the show. But if you're going to have, I say this all the time, it's so boring, 52 weeks of television every single year, I don't think you should stand on ceremony Mr. Wayne all of the time. I think sometimes, like I say, you should try something different, try something new. Let's do a litmus test here, because Tony Khan will get all the flipping numbers, apparently not for Max. Don't understand that one, but I don't want to get into streaming nonsense. And he can go, was it a good idea? Was it a bad idea? Should we do it again? From my vantage point, it popped me, to use business vernacular. Couldn't believe it. I can't remember what came before this, maybe the Christian Cage promo. But all of a sudden we get told, oh, here comes the world title program. And it got explained to us on commentary because they said, oh no, it's because, Tony Khan wants to make sure we have a winner here. Maybe we need the rest of the show. Maybe we don't need the rest of the show. I just think it gives a little bit of reality to proceedings, because if wrestling was on the up and up, we weren't able to plan the finishes, and you had a 2-hour block for television, I think you'd probably start with it, to be completely honest. Well, maybe not. Maybe the last hour you would leave, which is what we did do. I just like it when people do this, and it could have been an absolute bust. You may have watched it and gone, oh man, I'm disappointed now, because you didn't want to see any of the stuff that did come after that, which I could understand. Although really, Hangman Adam Page was back out in that main event segment to tell you what the next title program was, and if you like this title match, you may hang around to see where that was going to go. I just thought it was a fun, entertaining way to approach your television. And as somebody who is very blessed that I get to watch all of this, I do this, I do the What Culture stuff, please subscribe to us all, just interact with as much down there as possible, because YouTube loves it. When something comes out of left field, it grabs my eyes, it grabs my brain, it grabs my body, it grabs my soul, which is proper hyperbole, I don't mean that at all. Massive exaggeration. And I hope that we do it again. And I hope sometimes we do it absolutely suck. That's the same for WWE, New Japan, AEW. Continue to throw things at the wall. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't matter. Who cares? We'll all moan about it and we'll all move on. Look how quickly the news cycle moves, right? You're all going nuts about one thing on Monday, and then Tuesday something else has happened and we all flip on there. I mean, people were talking about NXT Unreal, not NXT Unreal, WWE Unreal, then people yelling at Blake Monroe for her promo, and then we've gone to something else. It's just boom, 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 boom all of the time. So I massively respect AEW for doing this, and the match itself was great. I hope one day we go back to Hangman Adam Page versus Jon Moxley, no time soon, because this did a great job in drawing a line under it. And actually, I think that was my favourite thing about it, apart from the work, which is just brilliant. They just understand how to work together. Because we planted those seeds a long time ago when Darby Allin did his insane dive off a balcony to take out the Death Riders, and Moxley couldn't believe this. Now we can segue into that feud, and it makes sense, because the Death Riders took out, Darby a year ago, whatever it was, and he climbed Mount Everest, because why wouldn't you do that? So that makes sense. MJF has been hounding Hangman Adam Page way before he even won the Casino Gauntlet, and now he's got his magical contract, so those could now do something. We've also slipped Mark Briscoe in there, which is what people wanted, a fan favourite. It's tremendous stuff. It's good booking, and it is coming up with a story that I assume has an end chapter and sticking to it. And when you know where your full stop is, you can go left, you can go right, you can go up, you're down. I know all about that kind of a stuff. But because you know what your closing thing is going to be, e.g. Hangman winning it all in, you can just pepper it with things in between. This felt like such a natural switch to those extra feuds, to the point no one's going to be going, why does Jon Moxley not care about the world title anymore? He should be pissed at Darby, because it didn't cost him the match, but it was certainly an outlier that Jon can be like, you piece of crap, I need to get rid of you. And Hangman would be mad at MJF, because MJF keeps getting in his face and saying terrible, terrible things. So, great match. Watch it if you can. I would imagine if you watch this and the All-In match back-to-back, it is going to feel like a original and a sequel, which I think will be awesome. And of course, MJF broke up with the Hurt Syndicate on this show. As I talked about on Ups and Downs, I don't know what to do with this information, because if this is actually the end of the story, it's not great. I don't think you want to build up to it as much as you did, and then MJF, who was talking about the World Championship all the time anyway, says it one too many times, and Bobby Lashley beats him up, and then here Shelton Benjamin got mad, got his crappy watch, and said, look, MVP and Bob aren't even here, but you're out the group. We'll have to come back to this when we know more. That's a sad way to end it, right? I think you could have way more fun. Look at the story beats we just talked about. I think this is the end. And in fact, I think the Hurt Syndicate are going to turn up and help MJF use his magical contract at some point. I could be wrong. I could be fantasy booking. I mean, to use the same phrase that I used earlier, something just doesn't smell right here. And I don't know what it is. I'm confused. I think we're having the wool pulled over our eyes. And if they do that, it's good, right? It's good, because I can certainly see MJF in the ring. Maybe he's the world champion. I don't know. With Bobby Lashley, Shelton Benjamin, MVP behind him, laughing away like, ha, 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 we got you all. And it would make them super heels. And if you carry on the Hangman MJF feud, Hangman would have to go get some friends, which may even be the Young Bucks, because I've got a feeling we're doing all this dumb stuff with them because they may about to go back babyface. We'll wait and see. But it's difficult, but I like the fact that we get to talk about it like this. So I suppose there is a good element in there, but if it does just peter out now and the Hurt Syndicate go over there and MJF go over there, I was just really enjoying them together, and I don't think it'd run its course. I would absolutely feel like that we jumped on it too soon. So it's what I need to see play out. But again, you get Mark Briscoe versus Ricochet in the main event. Mark Briscoe won, even though the Gates of Agony were trying to interfere. That's a good use of distraction, interference, and confusion, because it got you worried, which essentially we did with the Death Riders in the world title match too. And then MJF does his weird teleportation trick. Who played the video of MJF on the big screen saying, "I'm not coming to the ring"? It must have been a production guy. So he's in cahoots with Maxwell, which is interesting. And then yes, he calls out Hangman essentially. So Hangman does come out, and him and Mark Briscoe chase him away. I wouldn't mind seeing a three-way here. I understand you have the babyface of Hangman and the babyface of Mark Briscoe, but one, I just want Mark Briscoe to stay in this picture. It does sound like we're getting a number one contenders match next week, but I think they're such good baby faces and they're such high talent, and MJF is just awesome. He's one of the best guys in the company. They could figure out a way to make this work. I just don't want Mark Briscoe to vanish because he loses to MJF next week. I would rather come up with something, and then you can get to the Hangman MJF stuff later down the line when it's more singles. Maybe I'm overbooking the thing. I don't know. I just think Mark Briscoe's been tremendous for the last few weeks. The promo he cut here after he won, and he said, "I may not be able to see my brother again because I'm going to kill you, Maxwell, and I won't repent, and therefore I don't get to go upstairs." I was just like, wow, we really are getting rid of jokey Mark Briscoe, but he's wonderful and he's great. And really within the next 12 months, he's like my Sami Zayn of AEW. I want Sami Zayn to win a world title because I feel like it's necessary. And I want Mark Briscoe to win a world title. Eddie Kingston's in this conversation as well. There's probably some other ones. Kevin Owens, but lesser so, because at least he won the Universal title. But those kind of guys, I just want to see win a world championship so I can love my wrestling. And thankfully, it ended with Hangman Adam Page standing tall and MJF running away, because you don't want him to win a title match and then be beaten up. So excellent stuff. I really enjoyed it. Also like the tag team match, which was basically there to do the other contract stuff, because Athena got the win over Toni Storm when she surprised her with the O-face. I was a little bit baffled she didn't then try and use her thing. Like, they'd taken out Alex Windsor and Toni Storm was there for the picking, but we didn't cash in the contract. So that's one of these wishy-washy storylines where I think you could argue it both ways. If somebody came up to me and said, "Simon, you're being way too pernickety there. You're being way too," I can't think of the right word, but it doesn't actually matter. I would agree with you. Then I get this thing in my head. I'm like, well, she would have tried. How many times do we see people try to cash in the briefcase, but then they bail because it doesn't go right? Just kind of think Athena could have done more here. But again, really good, just a solid tag team match with a great creative finish, which I enjoyed. And the Young Bucks versus the Outrunners was just tremendous fun. And not just tremendous because they have good, well, they work well together as well. And some of the spots and the dives and like the super kick misses and the more bang for your buck that went into a 1-2-ooh. I enjoyed that a lot. But the Young Bucks are just embracing this whole we're no longer EVP piece. It actually is gibberish when you think about it. Why wouldn't they be allowed their title card because they're normal wrestlers? But when it came up with talent card and their social media said social media, like you were on a creator wrestler on WWE 2K and you'd forgotten to add those bits in, and they're so mad. And in a promo later when they had fallen out with FTR, which is why I think they could be becoming baby faces again, because they did proceed here to the next round, but saying we got preloaded in the ring, which is a proper, I mean, most people know what that means, but it's more of a backstage term. It's when you have a match with a jobber or enhancement talent and they're already in the ring. It's called preloaded. I think they do it on entrances as well, right? Who would have a preloaded entrance? Joe Hendry sometimes has a preloaded entrance. I mean, he's there ready to do his turn. He had a preloaded entrance at WrestleMania, but sometimes it can mean you're in a ring as well. It's just awesome. And the match is great. I truly do think the Young Bucks are one of the best tag teams ever. Anytime I say that, people send me hateful messages. You're allowed. Totally fine. Bit weird, but that's up to you. And the Outrunners are just, they're wonderful, man. 6 months ago, maybe a year ago, people were really on them for their gimmick or stupid gimmick. It's not a stupid gimmick. It's a fun gimmick, and it's an entertainment gimmick. And here they were so damn good, and they got their son of a bitch elbow and whatever else they were doing. I really wanted them to win. And I think that annoyed some people as well, but I think sometimes annoyance is good. The Young Bucks got the win after the TK driver and some other shenanigans before that, but it made me feel something, which again is way over the top, but that's all wrestling needs to do. Winners and losers do matter, but I think they matter in the sense you want to have a connection to it either way. Winners and losers don't matter when someone just wins or loses, or you do a cheap finish, which means you can't actually go, oh my gosh, what does that mean for that guy? And what does it mean for this guy? I think it put Outrunners in a really interesting position, especially because finally we re-teamed Okada up with the Young Bucks. They hadn't chatted in a few weeks, which I thought was weird. So Swerve comes out, he makes a save. He's probably going to have his match at the pay-per-view with Okada for whatever the hell we're calling his belt now. It's got like 3 names. And you can do the 6-man tag. And who doesn't want to see that in 2025? Swerve Strickland and the Outrunners versus the Elite, essentially. Please let Swerve Strickland dress up like the Outrunners. I think it would make my life. It'd be so damn good. I really enjoyed it. And of course, the Young Bucks now in the semi-finals. Willow Nightingale also cut a really funny promo as well. She needs to win a championship soon, and she just needs to be a babyface we build at least a segment of the company around, because, she's going to take on Tekla. It's a bit weird that Chris Statlander has vanished from my TV. I did miss Collision this week, apart from highlights, so she may have been on that. And Willow doesn't seem that bothered with the Death Riders anymore, and she was tied up there. So that is a little bit of a plot hole, I suppose. But we'll wait and see what happens. Like the Triangle of Madness, I think Tekla's new group is called. If she's going to jump in there, could you see Willow and Chris finally make amends? Because they have been feuding for a long time. Who could the third guy be? It's probably staring me right at the face, but I can't think of it right now. It's probably somebody that's going to come back. But it's still good, and it's a reason to watch Collision. I like the fact that obviously AEW advertises that stuff. You need some synergy between the two shows. But I just thought overall it was a really good AEW Dynamite. Like I really did. There's a bunch of backstage promos. Obviously Hangman Adam Page kept propping up, and that's when MJF was doing his thing too. And like I said, we had that what's the word I'm looking for? We had the chat between Stokely FTR and the Young Bucks. And then, once again, Stokely remembered they're not his bosses, so he was going to hit them with his crutch when he decided better of it. But the first half was essentially about telling you how important this world title match was. And then the ending was telling you where we're going to go next, which is a good television program. We also had the Christian Cage promo. Let's not pretend that Christian Cage isn't an all-time wrestler. He is, and I don't think he gets the credit he deserves. It was a bit long, and it was a bit meandering, and he seemed to get flustered a couple of times. But we got the points over that we needed to. He knows better than Nick Wayne. That's why he did the plan. He kind of didn't execute it at Revolution, because I guess he still has feelings for Adam Copeland. Mentioned that Adam Copeland's done worse things in his career that Cage has done, which has some truth to it. And then the matriarchy, as I suppose they're called now, just bludgeoned him with this standing up concerto. And I am repeating ups and downs now, so forgive me, but I think some points need to be doubled down on. Anyone that goes, oh man, look pretty fake, you don't get wrestling. You just don't. You don't understand how dangerous that is. One thing out of place and you're going to brain that man. In many ways, you could say it's too dangerous. And I'd kind of agree with it. But I thought, given the margin for error being so small, the way they pulled it off was pretty damn terrific. And unless you watch it like you're some kind of microscopic doctor bug, it did look like it totally wrecked the man. Well, you're watching it like this and you're rewinding it and you're slowing it down. That is not the way that wrestling should be done. I've seen way worse chair shots than that. And I suppose this is when we start getting Christian Cage back as a babyface. He was not a babyface here. He yelled at the crowd a lot. I'm conducting business and all of that. But listen, Christian is allowed. I wouldn't even call it an offer. It was just too long. The promo should have been smushed together a little bit. I think it just would have been more effective, but that doesn't take anything away from the power of Christian Cage. And when he does go back babyface, and I guess does team up with Adam Copeland, I think I'll probably have water coming out my seeing devices, because the nostalgia is going to be so much. So it was a good episode of Dynamite. I think Dynamite, ratings be damned, has been good ever since All In. I'm into the stories. I'm into the characters. I want to see where we're going to go. Sure, some people could be focused on more, but hopefully that will happen soon. But I still feel like we're on an upward trend. And maybe that's not resulting in 18 to 34. Or I don't care. I just don't care. I care about what I sit down and how I feel about the show. And I care what you feel about the show as well, because then we can sit down and have intellectual discourse and not yell at each other like the crazy people on the internet. I get you're going to yell. That's fine too. You can do that in the comments. I read most of them. Unless you really sort of take shots at me, then you may... Well, no, I'll leave the comment there, but I will ignore you, to be completely honest. Like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Please do subscribe and hit the notification bell, especially if you're on mobiles, because the algorithm at the moment is driving me nuts, or not getting into people's timelines. Blah, blah, boring. Who cares? Otherwise, patreon.com/Simon316 for extra videos and watch-alongs. Going to do the wrestling match again with this black eye soon, so definitely tune into that. GorillaMind.com/Simon. That code gets you money off. These are fitness supplements I use, and they actually work. Otherwise, I wouldn't promote them to you. Simon316 on all social media. Simon on Cameo for personalized video messages. I did one today that was just an optimistic message for the morning when somebody woke up, which is very cool. Simon J. Miller on TikTok for essentially wrestling songs now. I don't know what I'm doing with my life. Pro Wrestling Tees and Big Cartel for merchandise. Just search my name. But have a great day. All right? That's all I want from you, is to have the best day. Thank you for giving me some of your time. How cool is that? I'll see you soon.